Alright everybody, welcome to another Premodern video. We're going to be playing in the Magic Online Society Premodern League, and I'm going to be tryharding a little bit now because I have been testing around different things and some of them have not been going well, and then I have fallen off the playoffs. So I would like to qualify again, so I'm going to be playing a little bit of more of a, I guess my pet deck at this point. I have an event that's going to be coming up in February, and I'm looking toward the possibility of attending LobsterCon. So with all of that in mind, I would like to try a couple of different things that I want to give it a shot to with blue-white Dreadnought. So we're going to be trying a deck list that basically splashes white for Meddling Mage and a couple of Swords to Plowshares, and then of course some Cyber cards as well. But no Enlightened Tutors in this deck list. Tutor, I'm personally not the biggest fan of tutors in Premodern because there are not that many decks that can recoup the card disadvantage, and a lot of matchups in the format actually come down to specifically to the card advantage and who draws more, who has more actual raw resources. So with that in mind, I'm going to be trying out this version that instead of playing tutors actually plays extra cantrips. So we're going to have the full playset of Sleight of Hand and a singleton portent that gives me 9 cantrips at 1 mana. We still have access to all of the classic interaction that the Dreadnought has, plus the combo, so Stifle, Vision, Charm, and the Dreadnoughts, and then interaction in Daze, Counterspell, Foil, and some card advantage with Gush. But we do have access to Meddling Mages and a couple of copies of Swords to Plowshares. Of course, we are adapting the mana base in order to be able to cast these white cards, but it actually looks a little bit closer to the mono blue version than any other list that I have played before. So I'm interested in seeing how this works out. In the sideboard we have some Seal of Cleansings, some disenchant effects, and then the full playset of Swords to Plowshares. Obviously this is absolutely fantastic in the mirror and places like that. We also have Counterspell, Hydroblast, Blue Elemental Blast, and Annals, like all of these just classic cyber cards in the format. But we're going to be playing 2 copies of Winter Orb. I have been very impressed by Winter Orb, particularly versus matchups like The Rock or even the Slide deck, which has been very popular, at least in the MTGO leagues, if not in the actual format. And then a Singleton Tormod Script. I'm not even sure that I should be playing this at all. So like the decks that I want Tormod Script against are mostly stuff like Parfait and even stuff like Angry Hermit or whatever. But like those decks are not particularly popular. Angry Hermit as well, it's just a good matchup for me, I think. Like the times that I played it, I felt very, very comfortable because, well, we play Melee Mage, right? Not only is like Dreadnought very well set up to be facing the Hermit deck because of all the counter magic, but we're also playing Melee Mage, which makes things even better for us. So I'm not even sure that I should be playing the Tormod Script to begin with, and maybe this should be a Null Rod instead. So that is definitely something that I've been considering, but we're going to go with the Tormod Script for now, but just be aware that this sideboard is very, very much not written in stone. I'm also still not sure whether I'd rather have Seal of Cleansings or actual Disenchant, because I'm going to be wanting to hold up Counterspell sometimes. So I don't know if I want to be more of a tap out deck or more of a hold my mana and then do stuff on your end step deck. So we'll have to figure that out through some testing, but that's what we're going to be doing today. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you would like to support my content, you can also do that for free by using the Mana Traders and TCG Player links. Also, if you would like to join the Magic Online Society, Magic Online League, you can find the information you need in the description of the video down below. And if you would like to support the stream in a direct way, you can use Patreon. You can make direct donations and can play any deck list of your choosing with any donation of $30 or more. And finally, you can book coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your gaming to the next level. Without further ado, let's play some Premodern. Okay, here we go. This hand looked good to me. Let's keep this. We're on the play. We got Gush, we got Counterspell, Foil action. I think I'm going to lead on Flooded Strand so that I can Counterspell on 2. And in the... Oh man, like, should I lead on Waste? If I lead on Wastes, I get 2 Swords on 1 plus hold up Counterspell on 2, which is potentially exciting. What we do, however, if we're playing into Wasteland, if we do that. I'm not sure Wasteland matters too much, though. This is actually a very interesting decision. We're turn 0 and we're already making a very interesting decision. I think I'm gonna go for Flooded Strand, but I could actually no, I'm gonna go for a Darker Wastes. I'm pretty sure that just being able to have access to this curve is potentially important. So, yeah, we can go turn 1, Llanowar Waste into birds. Is this something that I'm interested in plowing? I think so. I think so. Because, like, the Rock's mana is pretty bad, and just having access to a way to... Ooh, that's beautiful. Yep, super rewarded for doing this. Super rewarded. So we still don't have the combo, so but we do have time, though. We do have time. I'm assuming we're against the Rock. Let's see what this is. Wall of Blossoms. Yeah, this is definitely getting countered. And just keeping the board clear seems... I'm just going to take this. Keeping the board clear seems pretty good versus this deck that wants to accrue value over time and actually has use for all of these random bodies because of Cabal Therapy. Basic Island. Not the best draw, but it's fine. We have Gush to recoup. So I'm feeling okay here. Opponent plays Swamp. Wonder what we're up against. I'm obviously not going to counter this bird. Okay, so we're going to pass the turn. Foil. Well, so now we can just hardcast one of these foils and maybe Gush on my next turn. I think I'm countering almost everything. If they give me something juicy, oh yeah. If they give me something juicy to counter here, even more so. So get a nice little clean foil right there. Stifle. I think because I have Counterspell, I can just Gush here. And if I find a Dreadnought, I'm just gonna play it out. Meddling Mage would be sweet. Okay, Sleight of Hand's nice. Some nice little cantrips going on here. We have a bunch of violence already, so I guess I'd write a Painless Source. And sure, let's opt as well. Into another Sleight of Hand. I guess if my opponent doesn't play anything, I'm going to want to hold up a hardcast foil next turn, so I'm going to bottom the Sleight of Hand and just find another Sleight of Hand. That's fine. Okay, so let's cast this one now. Another Counterspell. Okay. Well, I mean, if this is one of the Sleight of Hands that would have been in Enlightened Tutor, I would have liked to have access to the Tutor instead of the Sleight of Hand. So just throwing that out there for now. Recurrent Nightmare. That seems worth countering. Birds of Paradise and another Adarka Wastes. Okay, guess I'm gonna play out the Wastes and pass the turn. Would love to find another Gush. Having found Meddling Mage would have been fantastic. Yeah, this is... I mean, we're still in fine shape, right? Like, it's not... My opponent also doesn't have that many ways to get out of hand, right? But I'm definitely happy that I killed the Baloth. That I countered the Baloth, because that Baloth would be putting pressure on me. Cabal Therapy. I think I just... Do I just counterspell this? My opponent has no information about my hand. So I can just foil this if I want to. Huh. Or do I counterspell? Because this therapy is actually very good because of the bird. So I think I'm just gonna counterspell this. I counterspell the therapy. And now if they want to flash it back, they have to sack the bird, which sets them a little bit behind. And I'm not too afraid of anything they can play for 3 mana, like a Pernicious Deed maybe. If they want to flashback therapy, sacking the bird, I'm going to let that one resolve. Maybe they have the soul read that I have a foil or a stifle, but I don't care about them having the information. But like the first one around makes the second... The first therapy coming around makes the second one so much better. So I'm going to play out the island there so I can hold up both foil and counterspell. Pass the turn back. So Gush is my best draw. Meddling Mage would be quite good as well. Because with Meddling Mage, I can... Well, yeah, that's the one I said is my best draw. I'm gonna chill, though. I think I'm gonna wait until the next turn. I'm definitely gonna... even though I can hardcast this Gush, I definitely want to bounce my lands so I have access to foil next turn. But I don't think I want to do that right now. I can do that next turn when I'm gonna be making better use of my mana. This is, of course, unless they play like a Hermit here. If they play a Hermit, I'm kind of interested in looking for a Daze. Cabal Therapy. Yeah, that's fine. If they have the Soul Read on Counterspell or Foil, that's fine. Just I can just cast the other one. Honestly, the best thing they could name is Gush. but I would have probably gushed in response if I had it. So if I were them, I would probably name Counterspell. Oh, that's not the one I have. They named Dreadnought. I think, considering that I counterspelled the first therapy around, I think that the right thing to name there is actually Counterspell. Genesis. Huh. Well, I'm not going to counter a Genesis. I am definitely going to gush here, though. Looking for Dreadnought, of course. Opt. Days. I'm going to bottom. Meddling Mage. Okay, so we're gonna cast this Mage. The question is, what do we name? I think we can name Smother, we can name Vendetta, Diabolic Edict. Well, but Diabolic Edict doesn't do anything because I just have the Mage to sack, right? So Edict doesn't do anything, so I'm just gonna name Smother. Also, Naturalize would be another potential thing to name. But I think we can name Smother. This means that we can... we just have to worry about Pernicious Deed exactly, and we have like 2 pieces of counter magic against Pernicious Deed. And if we find another Stifle, that's also good versus Deed, which is nice. Opponent attacks, which is fine. I'll take it. The only problem here... Oh, therapy is brutal. Yeah, this therapy is very, very good. So I guess I'm just gonna cast Counterspell here. And I'm doing that because they have perfect info, right? Wow, interesting that they didn't flashback. Well, that's a good draw. So here's an attack on Mage. And here's a Dreadnought. And I'm gonna stifle the trigger. And now we'll pass it back. So now what they can do is obviously they can just like flashback therapy, cast Deed, and then crack it for 1 immediately. Hermit. Well, I just counter that. Yeah, I don't think this was a good play. They should have just flashed back first. Like, they know I have a foil in hand, right? So now they have to chomp. Play wastes. So now they have to chomp. And they're just not going to have the time to close here. So I'm just going to attack with Dreadnought. I guess they don't have to chomp, but... And now I just name Pernicious Deed with the second Meddling Mage. Pernicious Deed. Pass the turn back! So I guess, I mean, what can they even have at this point? Yep, they're just locked out. I guess they could have had, like, Recurrent Nightmare into... Yeah, I don't think they could have had anything. Yeah, that was a pretty big misstep from my opponent. Because the Range Hermit would have bought my opponent a lot more time. But they had to therapy name in foil to get rid of it first. By sacking the Genesis. Okay, so Swords to Plowshares is decent versus the Rock. Winter Orb is incredible. And I think that's kind of it. I like Counterspell, but I think that's kind of it. Meddling Mage is fine. It's not like incredible or anything, but it's pretty decent. We can cut some Daces. I don't think I care about Tormod's Crypt. I think if I had Fire Action Furnace, I would keep it, but the fact that I chose to go for Crypt instead, I think that I don't want that versus the Rock. We can cut some Daces. I think Foil is fine, but we can cut one of those. And then what? Actually, let's cut one STP. So 3 Swords to Plowshares, couple of Daces. I think I'm just going to cut all the Daces and keep in the Foil. I think we're going to go with this. If I'm on the play, Dace is going to become a lot better. But being on the draw, I think this is going to be better. But yeah, just want to draw a million gushes, and that should be great. Okay, game number 2. Okay, let's keep this hand. Let's keep this hand. We got Dreadnought, we got a quick combo. We have this weird Portent, but I think it's fine. I like this hand a fair bit. Llanowar Wastes on 1 into Bird. Great. Very, very happy that I cut my Daces. with that start, it would have been pretty bad. Ooh, we have the combo? We have both Portent and Flooded Strand? Oof. Fire. Well, never mind. We actually... we're gonna shuffle that, so... yes, we're gonna shuffle that. And then we're gonna draw a card, which is another island, which is not great. Please don't tell me that the bug happened. Sometimes you will Portent and you will choose to shuffle, and then it just doesn't work. Or like you choose to shuffle, but like Moto is like, nah. Actually, you want to discard. You actually want to discard, so like here you got him. And it's quite frustrating. Mesmeric Fiend in the Pernicious Deed deck. You love to see it. Okay, so it did actually shuffle. Good for us. Pass the turn here. Knowing that my opponent's got access to Mesmeric Fiend makes me a lot more excited about Swords to Plowshare, so I guess I'm going to bring in the 4th copy. But yeah, funnily enough, like if we draw Melee Mage here, it's going to be kind of tough for my opponent to win. Wool of Blossoms. I'm not going to stifle the Wool of Blossoms trigger, unfortunately. I mean, if we find it... Oof, that's such an insane draw for them. That's literally the best draw they could have had. Now they're going to name... They should name Stifle, and then they should flash back and name Gush. But I'm just going... Yeah, I think they should have named Stifle. I guess Vision Charm protects from Edict as well. So that's a reason to name Vision Charm. And they should just sack the wall and just flash back right now, naming Gush. Which forces me to just cast the Gush right now. Yeah. So we cast the Gush, and I guess we're just gonna let that go. Stifle's named. I could have just counterspelled that, but I think the counterspell is worth more. Got a lot of islands over here. I'll take the point of damage. That's fine. What's our best draw here? I guess some source. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. I think I'm gonna hold up counterspell this coming turn. Unless they just tap out. If they just tap out, I'm just going to slam this Winter Orb, but I really doubt that they're going to. Survival! Alright, this is hot. I've been actually trying to brew with this. I've been actually trying to make this happen. Because I think that there just has to be a good rock deck that plays Survival. This also makes me think that they may just not be playing Deed at all. So that is something to keep in mind. And yeah, now with a Survival in play, I'm obviously just going to hold up Counterspell. That's really hot, though. Survival is sick. Great Whale. Okay, so are we actually just... Were we just playing against Feb all along? Is that what was going on? We're just playing against Feb and I was just being an idiot and assuming this was the rock? I mean, it can be Feb, though. I saw no blue mana at all. And I saw, like, Deranged Hermit, so... I am very confused now. Mesmeric Fiend, well, that's getting Counterspell. They know about the Counterspell, too, so... Play a land. They should tap the bird here. Counterspell that. But yeah, Survival is big. Survival is a really big deal here. Okay. Discarding Squee, get another Mesmeric Fiend. Jeez, so many fiends. So we're just gonna foil this, discarding Island and I think a Darker Wastes. And then I'm gonna untap and I'm gonna slam this Winter Orb. Also now I'm a lot more excited about Tormod Script, by the way. Okay. Gonna fetch from my basic planes. And here is the Orb of Winter. This should help keep the Survival in check. But yeah, those Therapies and Fiends actually did a number on me here. The good thing is the second I draw a Swords to Plowshare, this game is wide open. The second I draw a Swords to Plowshare, so all of a sudden, this game becomes super, super close. Because this Dreadnought is kind of protected underneath the Mesmeric Fiend, funnily enough. I'm gonna tap the White Swords because I want to draw that. that's the card that I want to draw. Good. Good job, deck. Good job. I guess there's an argument for going Gush and just hoping that I draw one of my thingies. Naturalize the Winter Orb. That's a big yikes. That's a huge yikes. That's a massive yikes. That's the highest yikes of them all. Draw Swamp. We know they have Squee. Let's see what they get here. That was a really good Naturalize. Just slamming this Deranged Hermit. Opponent wants to close the game. Am I gushing here? Am I gushing here to look for a counter spell? If I do, I'm going to have 3 mana next turn, so I think I am. Let's see what we draw. It's not what I was looking for. Not quite what I was looking for. Okay. So we can still draw a Stifle and maybe be in the game, but I doubt it. Like, this Survival is just going to beat my Dreadnought, though. Yeah, okay. All right, well, we're gonna be cyberling very differently for game number 3. I definitely want more Swords to Plowshares, full 4. Daze becomes a lot more interesting on the play, and Seal of Cleansing becomes a lot more interesting as well. Also, Tormod Script becomes a lot more interesting. So now things are a little bit tougher. Let's cut 1 foil, 1 counterspell, bring in at least a couple of dazes. I think I just want all the dazes on the play. Over counterspells. Maybe not over counters, but something like this. And let's do... Gosh is great. Let's do 3 days, 3 counterspell, 3 foil. I don't think I actually want answers to... I could bring in Seal of Cleansing for survival, but I don't think that's how I want to approach that. So let's get rid of Portent. And could cut another Darkar Wastes, since my opponent's not playing Wasteland. Just go down to 17 lands. It's a little bit sketchy. But the game is gonna go really long, so I think this is fine. Okay, let's be on the play. And this hand is fantastic, so let's keep it. I think we're gonna go turn 1 island. We already have... Yeah, this hand is just incredible. We get to play Mage on 2. So opt on 1, Mage on 2, or even hold up Gush on 2. But like the fact that I get to Flooded Strand for planes. Okay. If I find a Daze, I'm gonna Daze the bird. Ooh, okay. I like that. And I'm just gonna plow the bird. So let's just fetch for planes. Swords to Plowshares, the Birds of Paradise, and pass the turn back. And now this Winter Orb is hopefully gonna do some work. Okay. So let's fetch for an island. I'm just gonna play these Meddling Mage. And I think I'm just gonna name... I could name Mesmeric Fiend. I think I'm gonna name Naturalize. Because we can beat Pernicious Deed thanks to these Stifle. Opponent could have something like Smother or whatever to kill the mage, but if we get to untap and we don't get Fiended, I'm gonna be really, really happy about my spot. Like if they play a Survival or whatever, I'm gonna be stoked. It's a Gush. Should I just drop this Winter Orb? Just to make sure that I use my mana? I think so. I think I'm just supposed to play this Winter Orb. And I'm only doing this because I named Naturalize with Meddling Mage. If I didn't name Naturalize with Meddling Mage, I would not be doing this. Llanowar Wastes. What? Okay, so let's Gush here. Highway Robber. That's funny. Okay. Now resolve. So I guess my opponent, they have to have some sort of combo going on, right? You don't just randomly choose to put Highway Robber in your deck. So they have to have something going on. Play my land, go to combat, offer the trade. Opponent's very likely gonna take it. Then we play another Meddling Mage on Naturalize. Take the trade. Name Naturalize again. And I think the next Meddling Mage is gonna name... do we even care about survival at this point? Like, my opponent doesn't have mana. Like, this Winter Orb is just owning. Very cool brew from my opponent, by the way. Very interesting approach to the rock. I think I'm just gonna name Cabal Therapy with the Meddling Mage. I think that's the correct thing to name. I think Cabal Therapy is the thing to name. I like that. So let's swing for 2. And we're gonna name Cabal Therapy. Pass the turn back. I got Stifle, so we don't care about Pernicious Deed if that's something my opponent has access to. Mesmeric Fiend would be slightly annoying, but it kind of just chumps the Meddling Mages, so... Okay. Pass the turn. Tap the white source. Land. So swing for 4. I mean, this is... It's a clock. It's not the fastest clock, but certainly a clock. So let's get back some islands. Well, that's happening next turn. We also have days going on. Well, is it even happening next turn? We can just do this now. Just put lethal on board. Just gonna Vision Charm. Hold up Stifle because the only thing that my opponent can do here, realistically, is the Pernicious Deed. The only thing that can realistically get my opponent back into the game is Pernicious Deed exactly, so I'd rather save Stifle for the deed. Here we got Daze. They have decided to have something here, right? Genesis. That is not something. That I don't care about. That's a chump blocker. That's what that is. Unless I draw... If I can also just draw... Well, this game's over. Honestly, after playing like the bug control and like the junky-ish decks that I've been playing lately, going back to play Dreadnought just feels unfair. This deck is ridiculous. This deck is astounding. It's incredible how good this deck is. I would like to see my opponent's hand. I would love to see my opponent's hand right now with these Meddling Mages on Naturalize and Cabal Therapies. Also Winter Orb, right? Like my opponent could have cast this Genesis like 3 turns ago. Winter Orb is such a banger in this matchup. Like such a banger. See you next round. Round number 2. Incredible hand. Keep it. Only looking for a land, but even if I don't find a land, I'm not too upset about it. So that's kind of exactly where you want to be, right? My opponent could be playing Stifle, so like sure. I guess I can get go by port here, but that's fine. If they board me, like what's gonna happen? Like what's the worst that's gonna happen to me? I'm gonna get like attacked for 1. White. Is this a Whip Corridor? Because that would really suck. That's not a Whip Corridor. I can beat that. Okay, so I'm just gonna play Meddling Mage on. Funny. Very funny. I'm still gonna name Swords to Plowshares on this Meddling Mage. If my opponent has their own name, their own Meddling Mage, and they name Dreadnought, I may actually just lose this game, which is pretty funny. But holy strength, let's go. All right, my opponent's not messing around. I mean, I'm still winning this race though. We take 6 here, swing for 2, make a Dreadnought. Okay, take 7, I guess, but that doesn't change the clock, so it doesn't change the clock. I don't think so. 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 7. This can be 9, so I guess it doesn't change the clock. Huh. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna do this, right? So I guess actually I am losing the race, aren't I? Yeah, that's actually a lot of power that my opponent put into play right there. I guess I am losing the race. My opponent's going to be at 2. At 1 if they use the city, but which they're probably not going to use. Alright, so I guess I lose this. And Spoon to Grave from the battlefield, you draw a card. Wow. Okay. Very interesting deck my opponent's on over there. Also, I should have cast this Sleight of Hand. That was just a mistake. Okay, so we take 7. We go down to 4. We don't have any answers main deck, so I guess I'm just gonna lose the race here. So let's gush, but I don't think there's anything that can save me. This only faces out artifacts, so that doesn't really help me. Another Dreadnought and a Meddling Mage. Yeah, my opponent's gonna be at they're gonna take 14. I'm just gonna die on the crackback. Okay. Respect. So maybe I should have just dropped a turn 2 Dreadnought there and go from there. So I definitely want the Swords of Plowshares. A little bit punished by my own Swords of Plowshares. I can cut the counter spells by my own Meddling Mage there, I mean. I'm trying to think. I may... this is a very interesting brew that my opponent is on. I'm not sure how to attack it. I definitely want Daces, Foils, Gushes. I probably want Seals. I can cut 2 Meddling Mages, I guess, and go with this. All of my other cards I don't think do too much. I could have Annuls instead of Seal of Cleansing. I guess Annuls are... Cleansing actually answers the board, which Annul doesn't. Annul is obviously better versus Rancor. Yeah, maybe... I mean, I guess once I saw the Solitary Foot Soldier, I needed to have reassessed. But I was not expecting my opponent to just like have so much power and hasty, right? So like the fact that they were doing enchantment things is what really got me, because enchantments are basically hasty extra power. Because if they were just playing White Winnie and they're just like hitting land drops and like casting their creatures, then I am the one winning that race fairly easily. But the fact that my opponent was using some, like, they're playing boggles, basically, which is a funny thing to say. I like this hand. Really like this hand. So we can cantrip a little bit in the early game. We also have Gush. We have double Swords to Plowshares, which is pretty nice. Obviously, we're not gonna... Foil is nice. Yeah, I'm gonna keep foil when I have already a Gush in hand. Seal of Cleansing, okay. We can't Dreadnought here. Undiscovered Paradise. I really like what my opponent's got going on over there. Soltari Priest. I think I'm just gonna try to Swords to Plowshares that thing. This is kind of awkward. I think I'm just gonna Gush here. Which, I mean, if I fail to find there, like, that's a really big problem, but got lucky, I guess. Got lucky and got there. Also, we did find a white source, so if they have an answer to this, we're just gonna foil it. Okay, 2 mana, Disenchant, no. And I'm gonna get rid of the Seal of Cleansing here. And if we find any other form of protection, we are very likely to win, because my opponent is gonna have only access to 1 mana, so... I think I'm just gonna name Disenchant with this Meddling Mage. Also, the fact that this is a 2/2 that my opponent can't block is a big deal. So let's name... I was almost writing Meddling Mage. Let's name Disenchant here. And if my opponent has Swords to Plowshares, then we're just going to use Meddling Mage to win the race. If they had Swords to Plowshares, that's probably what they would have used in order to play around Daze. So I don't think they have Swords to Plowshares in hand. And this means that they can only have a 2-mana answer. So yeah, Dreadnought just gets there. Definitely got a little bit lucky there. Now that I think about it, I'm not super into the seals, and I think I'm gonna bring in the extra Meddling Mages. Yeah, let's go with this. Counterspell is an interesting one, but I honestly think even on the draw, Daze is gonna be better than Counterspell. I like this. Yeah, very much like this. Very, very much like. Okay, it's got a Foot Soldier. I think I'm going to lead on Sleight of Hand just so I can Daze something. Flooded Strand, I'm just going to take Vision Charm. I already have enough lands. Don't think I care about the fetch land. Ooh, my opponent with Gemstone Mines. That is fine. This is all going to get swept up when... yeah, this is fine. I'm just going to take 1 hit and then... I'm going to main phase plow the Foot Soldier, so I can play around my opponent having any sort of protection spell of any kind. So this is a 9 clean, I guess 2 for 1. It's not a 3 for 1 because the Rancor goes back to hand, but yeah. Also, my opponent got like 2 uses of Gemstone Mine, right? We know they have Rancor, which I can Daze if I want, so I'm just gonna opt instead. We're gonna bottom with Vision Charm at Darker Wastes. I can Daze to get rid of that. I don't think I want to. Okay, so they pass the turn. Meddling Mage is nice, so I think I'm just gonna name Disenchant. I kind of need to find Swords to Plowshares here, or a Dreadnought. Either one of those is gonna get me there, but I need to find either one or the other, because this is a 4-turn clock that my opponent's got in front of me, and I'm only swinging for 2 a turn. White mana for Solitary Monk. Am I dazing that? I don't think so. Not with my opponent only having 2 mana sources. Dreadnought? No Dreadnought. Well, I can't block, so I might as well attack. So my good draws here are Swords to Plowshares, Dreadnought, or Gush. Cantrips are also redraws, of course. Damn. I think I'm just foiling this. Just hardcast foil. Because that actually takes a turn off the clock. So I do have to stop that. So now if I find the Dreadnought, it's not enough, so I need to find Gush. Sleight of Hand. Okay, that's not the worst. Portent, that is the worst. And this is why I hate Portent. We're seeing a great example of why I don't like this card. So if I draw into all 3 of these, that doesn't get me anywhere. So I do need to just find Swords to Plowshares here. I guess it's the only thing that really matters. Swords to Plowshares. We're gonna shuffle, play a land, swing for 2. Very interesting strategy that my opponent is on. Definitely caught me by surprise. Swords to Plowshares? No. Okay, so at this point I'm just dead, because I can't even Swords to Plowshare my own melee. So, yeah, wow. Very cool. Very, very cool deck. Oh no! You're too late, my friend. You're too late. You are too late. Maybe a turn or two too late. Yeah, because next turn we can bring my opponent down to 1. Brutal. So my opponent attacks. Good attack over here. And we're just going to counter that with take 1. GG's opponent, GG's. That was fun. That was a really fun deck. A really, really fun deck. I really like it. This is the beauty about this format, man. Like, you can just do this kind of stuff and it actually may just work. I love this. All right, 1 and 1. This hand is pretty solid. Okay, so we're missing a Dreadnought or White Swords, but we have a counter spell, we have Stifle, we have cantrips. Maybe 1 too many islands, but that's fine. Maybe just 1 too many islands. Could be worse. Powder Keg. Let's opt here. A Darker Wastes is interesting. Is my opponent mono blue control? I think I want to bottom this. Foil. Yeah, I'm not gonna foil this. Like, we have Stifle already. This is 0 mana interaction though, but it's fine. Okay, still don't have enough information on my opponent's deck. Redundant Stifle is not bad at all. My opponent has a Powder Keg in play though. We still have foil, which is nice. Sleight of hand. Okay. Take the Darker Wastes here. Play Island, say go. Next turn we can play Mage and protect it with Counterspell, which is not bad. Maybe even force my opponent to Powder Keg on 2. Who knows? Here's a Meddling Mage, and I'm not sure what I want to name here just yet. Mana Leak. Huh. I think I want to Counterspell this, just so I can force my spells through. So I'm using my mana at a point where it's convenient to me. And we can name, what do we name with this? Let's name Boomerang, Chain of Vapor. I'm gonna name Chain of Vapor. Let's name Chain of Vapor. It's possible that naming Boomerang is better, but... So if I attack, my opponent can block, and then it's opt here. Daze, we're not gonna need. Another opt. Okay, let's play a land and pass the turn. We can't really attack because of... I assume my opponent is on what's his name? On mono blue control. Fairy Conclave. That's really aggressive. Okay. That's really, really aggressive. Nice. Keep that on top. So we're just gonna attack and we're just gonna plow the... Oof, that's a good draw. My opponent can't really block here with the factory. They just have to take it. Take it on the chin. So we're gonna gush. After floating 2 mana. Play an island. And we're gonna be very sad, I guess. just gonna be very, very sad here. Discard an island. I want to stifle that. I think that's fine. Second Keg. We can counter that one. 4 mana for a disc. I think that's fine. Dreadnought would be a great draw. Third Stifle. Okay. And I guess I'm gonna play out the island so I can hardcast foil here if I need to. Disc does cost a mana. Versus Keg, which doesn't. And now that they are opening themselves up here, I'm just gonna plow this. I really doubt my opponent fights over this. And I'd much rather use the plow on that than on the Conclave, because the Conclave actually... ooh, this is nice. Okay, so... I guess I don't have the island anymore. So this foil is not super great. But the Daze does give me the land that I need. So we're going to say, okay. And we're going to go foil on the bottom, Dreadnought second, Daze first, no shuffle. Now we pass it back. We have infinite Stifles, which is very nice. Opponent Foffs on end step. Oh yeah, we're definitely countering this. Just a nice, easy, clean, hard cast. Using my mana at a point where it's convenient to me. Fighting the fight on my terms. And I think I'm just going to go for Dreadnought here. 3 mana to Cunning Wish. That's fine. You make Cunning Wish. For Annul. Okay. So they annul my Dreadnought, and I know that I'm drawing a foil. They have 3 cards left in hand, and I still have a disc to fight through. So what I can do is I can Daze this, force my opponent to pay, and then I foil. discarding land and stifle. The problem is if I don't do this now, then my opponent's gonna get many more turns. So I think I need to do this. So they daze there, I foil, discarding 2 cards, and now I stifle this trigger. And then I have to dodge my opponent having another counterspell, which honestly, it's not super likely they have another counterspell, because it feels like it would have been a lot better. Oh, you don't have to sack as part of the cost. All right, so I guess I can't let this resolve. Okay, so we learned that the hard way. We learned that the hard way. Okay. So I guess I can't do that. Huh. All right. And they did have Chain of Vapor, which is obviously good to know. Huh. That's actually very cool. I never even thought about that interaction. Never even crossed my mind that that could be how that worked. Well, I'm just gonna play this Meddling Mage here. And if this resolves, I'm just gonna Factor Fiction, which is the card that I know that my opponent has in their hand. So, just they wished for it. Okay. That's very interesting. That's super interesting. Yeah, I probably can't beat this anymore. Now, like, we're just too far behind, but that is very cool. Okay, so we can cut the Swords to Plowshares. I like the Annuls. I like the Counterspell. Winter Orb seems incredible. Probably Seal of Cleansing. So these are the cards that I'm interested in. I think I'm going to cut 1 Dreadnought, 1 Vision Charm. And I kind of like everything else. I guess if I have a Null, I can not have Seal of Cleansing. Seal of Cleansing gives me so much flexibility, though. Yeah, I think I'm just going to play Cleansing over a Null. A Null is better versus Tithe, however. Huh. Okay, so cut a foil, cut a daze. Go with this. All right. Think I like this hand. I'm gonna play a land, say go. Okay, so now we learned how Never Neverless Disc actually works, so we can play accordingly now. Dreadnought number 2 is not great for me. I'm just gonna jam a Powder Keg. I think I can beat Powder Keg. Draw land is nice. So now I can just go find my planes, cast all my spells. Powder Keg gets the counter. Let's see what's up here. Another foil is brutal. Am I gushing here? Like, I really wanna... I think I have to gush. Like, I really need to hit some land drops here. Play Sleight of Hand. Another Dreadnought. Another Sleight of Hand. Into... What am I discarding here? I think I'm discarding a Dreadnought. I already played my land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm going to need to discard 2 cards. I think it's going to be Dreadnought Foil. Yeah, I think so. So go to this card. Dreadnought Foil. It's not the best gush I've ever seen, but could have been worse. Play an island. Say go. Now we're just going to... We can take it a little bit slower, which is nice. At least they didn't FOF there. That if they had FOF there, that would have been pretty bad for me. Okay, so we untap. Winter Orb is kind of nice. Am I just playing that out? I kind of want to. I mean, I can't protect it, which is kind of awkward, but I kind of like playing it out because it makes my gushes better. And then it makes my opponent's FOFs worse. They Chain of Vapor? Alright, I mean, I love that. I love the Chain of Vapor just basically getting discarded. Seems pretty good for me. Activating Factory. You got it. And now, I mean, if they do this and they get a little bit too aggressive, we can really punish them, which is nice. So I guess I'm going to tap with 2 islands now and play this Winter Orb. See if my opponent tries to answer on the stack. Mana Leak. Gush. In response. These annuls are awkward. I guess I'm going to foil. Discarding island annul. So now I'm going to fetch for an island. And I'm going to look for Stifle. Meddling Mage. That doesn't do anything. That sucks. Okay. Really gotta find Stifle here. Because this keg is just going to blow out the Winter. I mean, it still takes a turn off of them. Because they're not going to be able to do anything this coming turn. So that part is nice. I mean, Powder Keg is quite strong against us. Okay. Winter-Elves gone. Untap. We have 7 cards in hand. Can play Meddling Mage. And I think I'm going to name Factor Fiction with this. Factor Fiction. That's the turn back. Impulse is fine. So now we're going to start casting Gushes. We have Foil. We have Annul. Yeah, that one we can annul. Opponent wishes. Do we have a counterspell? Wish for counterspell. Let's Gush, and maybe we can find the days here. That would be sick. We don't, but we can foil, guess the keg. It's fine. Counterspell resolves. Got him. Would have been sick to find the days there. Sleight of hand for Stifle. I could go for Dreadnought right now, but then we get got by Chain of Vapor. I think that's fine. So Chain of Vapor gets me here, but we have Gush to recoup. And we still have the Meddling Mage's beatdowns going on. They already used one Chain of Vapor, by the way. They have another one. Okay, that sucks. That sucks, but it's okay. That sucks, but it's okay. We move on. Counterspell. Okay. Pass the turn. Opponent 3 cards in hand. Fairy Conclave. Untap. Another counterspell. Let's Gush here so we can hit our land drop. We have multiple counter spells. Hopefully my opponent's got some dead. That one plays. My opponent's got some dead Factor Fictions in hand. Let's play a land and say go. Pass the turn. I imagine they're gonna start attacking with Fairy Conclave because they really need to win the game. I would like to have access to one more layer of protection here. Parallax Tide. That one we can counterspell. They have another one. Okay, we untap. So I would like to have one more layer of protection here. That's nice. Okay. Gate Island. Play Winter. This is a nice little bait spell. I mean, actually this, if they're tapping out for this, I'm just gonna counterspell here. Yeah. If they're valuing this so highly, I'm down to counterspell here. And now we just swing in with Mage. Getting there for 2 points. If they want to Chain of Vapor, this is fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic. Opponent down to 0 cards in hand. No more cards in hand for them. And like if they do this, we can just like Winter Orb. Portent. Well, here's an orb. Do I just portent them? I think I'm going to portent them. This may be crazy, but I think I want to portent them. Oh yes. Look at the cards. I'm looking at the cards. We're going to do top, 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 no shuffle, play land, play Dreadnought, and Vision Charm. If their single card that I don't know about is exactly a Chain of Vapor, they deserve it, I guess. If I attack, that taps 2 mana and the Fairy Conclave, and they're drawing Island and all. So I guess there's a chance that their card in hand is exactly Factor Fiction, and that would give my opponent a chance, while otherwise the game is locked up. So we knew about that island. Okay, and that's the last card in hand. So now we know that we win. Awesome. Here's 12 damage. All right. Portent was good there. Not gonna say no to that. Portent was good. I'm personally not a huge fan of the card, but that was really cool. That was a very cool game. Very, very interesting game. Okay, so now we're gonna be on the draw. Days is gonna be a lot worse. So I want Foil. I think I want Seal of Cleansing. I guess maybe 1 days. The Miser's Days. So they have the Chain of Vapor slash, what's his name combo? Chain of Vapor plus Parallax Tide combo, so that's something I need to be watching out for. But I think this Cyberlink strat is fine. And I think Stifle is better. I think Stifle is better than Vision Charm. Okay, what do we got here? Okay. This looks good. I like this a lot. So again, my opponent's playing Stifle, so I'm just gonna fetch for an island, just main phase, to play around Stifle. Mistress Factory. Sapphire Medallion. That's fine. I think that's worth Seal of Cleansing. Actually, this is very nice. This is super nice. Am I just jamming this? Yeah, I think so. I think I'm just jamming that. So I guess if I was gonna do that, I should have Flooded Strand to fetch to continue playing around Stifle. And tap that. Play my island. Actually, I should have played That was wrong. I should have played the Flood Strand so I can have the island for foil. I'm trying to play around my opponent's stuff, but I think it's better to play around my own stuff, right? And I think this powder keg is just fine. Like if they want to blow up their own Sapphire Medallion to, I can even save it with Vision Charm. Oh, that's sick. That would be sick. Okay, so I'm gonna fetch now. I think past the turn. Oh yes, Vision Charm my own Winter Orb to save it from the powder keg. I'm already getting the chills. I'm already getting the chills for this. So I'm saving my counter magic for something that actually warrants it. And at this point, I'm actually playing out the islands on purpose because I'm planning to just hard cast this foil. See how much my opponent cares about the Winter Orb, because they should definitely care. If they think they're okay not caring about it, they're very wrong. They like it may look like it doesn't matter right now, but I can guarantee that it will. I could play the seal to force the issue on the powder keg, but I don't think I even want to do that. I think I'm okay just doing this, because I have Gush and my opponent doesn't. So, let's cast Sleight of Hand here. Daze, another Sleight of Hand. Another Sleight of Hand is fine. But I'm not going to cast it this turn, I'm going to cast it next turn. So that I can have foil plus counterspell here. So here opponent Foffs, which I'm going to counterspell. Impulse is fine. Impulse away, my friend! I'm probably not protecting this, because my opponent ticked up to 2, so I'm assuming that they are going to... that they're going to blow this up now. Which means that I want to face out target artifact. Oh baby, that's so hot. Oh baby, that is so hot. Blow up your own Mox Sapphire. Winter Orb still in play. Parallax Tide. So I can't counter that, which is awkward, but... So they're going to take 4 of my lands. And then Chain of Vapor. But I can just... Is there a way I can use this Stifle to save me? I guess I can save one of my lands. Maybe I should have saved the island in hand. For this specific reason. Land. So this is gonna leave me with 2 islands. And if I stifle one of these triggers, I can save one of the Adakar Wastes, which I guess seems worth it. But I actually can't, because I can't stifle this trigger, right? Like that's like the whole point. that's the whole point of how the combo works. So probably don't want to be doing that. Perfect. So it's past the turn. We can Sleight of Hand next turn. We know they have Tithe plus Unknown card. Gush is a heck of a draw. I'm gonna take another island, I think. And I guess I can... No, I'm just gonna play out the island and say go. This means that I can counterspell the Tithe. Never Neural Disc. Well, actually I can blow this one up. Sweet. I've learned my lesson on the disc. So now we just do Seal of Cleansing, protected with counterspell, and we blow this one up. And we know their last card in hand is a Tithe. So let's just Gush, play my land, and say go. We can name Parallax Tide with this Meddling Mage, which is pretty nice. I think I'm just gonna name Chain of Vapor, actually. They've only used 1. Yeah, I'm definitely naming Chain of Vapor. Tap the island. Play out the Darker Wastes. Name Chain of Vapor. Now we hope that this Winter Orb does some nice little work. Pass the turn. We untap. Gonna swing with this Meddling Mage. See if my opponent wants to block. They do. Interesting. Okay. Oh, it pumped itself. I'm an idiot. Wow, I really messed this one up. Really messed this one up. Yeah, I'm like, oh, it doesn't have the other thing. It's like, no, actually, it doesn't matter. All right. That was just 100% a punt. I did not intend to do that. But I can still play another Mage. Chain of Vapor. Wow, that was really bad. That was really bad. Okay. We just brush it off and we keep going. That's the name of the game here. I forgot that the little guy pumps itself. Here's an island. Let's opt to see what we got going on. Sleight of Hand. Let's Gonna take another Meddling Mage, but I'm not super stoked about the current state of affairs. Okay, so they untap Factory again, pass the turn back. Let's actually untap the island. That's a Dreadnought. Half the way there. Play island. I think I'm just gonna Portent here. I'm gonna Portent myself. I think these cards don't really do anything. So let's just shuffle and pass it back. Can't really attack with the mage, unfortunately. Opponent untaps an island, we draw a land. Ugh, not a great draw. Okay. We don't know the top cards of our deck, so we don't have information here. Stifle's not bad, but I need some form of protection here. I can attack to have my opponent tap their stuff. I don't think that's gonna be good enough. They have 7 cards in hand. It's a lot of cards. Tap my island. Gosh, it's quite nice, I'm not gonna lie. Particularly because now I do have like double foil protection. Like now we're looking kind of nice here. So let's play an island, and we're just gonna go for Dreadnought plus Stifle. They annul. Foil the annul. Discarding island, discarding Winter Orb. Second annul is brutal. We can fight this. We can fight this fight. Got another foil. We're gonna foil the annul, discarding island, and I guess Meddling Mage? Yeah. Stifle Dreadnought trigger. We still have 1 foil. Mana leak on the Stifle. Let's opt. Do I want another Stifle? I kind of do, actually. So let's let the mana leak go. Gonna say no. I'm gonna Stifle the trigger again. We even get to attack with Meddling Mage for good measure. You'll love to see it. And Meddling Mage naming Chain of Vapor should lock this one up because we can foil. Powder Keg is probably the best thing they can play. Okay, we untap here. We know one of their cards in hand is a Tithe. Swing for 12. Wow, what a match! Like, this entire match has been absolutely delightful. This entire match has been awesome. Really, really enjoyed it. But I think this is locked up now. Oh! I messed it up. I actually played the island instead of the... Oh my god. Oh my god. Did I just throw it away? I didn't even think about it. I'm like, oh, I even drew the land so I can just like play it. Oh, woof. All right. Yeah. All right. That was sick. Wow. That was like brain fart towards the end. Wow. That was brutal. Crazy match. That was really, really cool. GG's, Eddie the intern. Round number 4. This hand is too clunky. It really needs a land to do anything. This hand is much better. So let's keep here and let's do the Stifle thing. And we're just gonna play a land and say go. I'm not going to fetch unless I have to. Because I know that, you know, I just want more cards in the deck. Basic Swamp is interesting. Curse Scroll. I don't care about that card. So that's fine. Untap. It's not a land. That is most certainly not a land. If I find any land, I think I'm going for it with Double Days backup. Opponent plays the Rack, which I don't care about at all. Any land? Any land? Yes. All right. So we're only going to have 1 days, but I do get to protect the Knot until my next turn. So I think I'm going to do that. So let's play Dreadnought. I'm just going to Vision Charm. And now we're going to be able to Double Days next turn. So we're playing against Pit Rack, which is... Okay, so this is whatever. I'm just going to discard the Meddling Mage. I don't think we're going to be using the Mage. Also, it just gets Curse Scroll, so easy discard on the Mage there. So if my opponent plays a 3-drop here, we can Daze it, which is nice. I don't know which answers to Dreadnought my opponent could be playing main deck. Maybe I should have gone for Stifle. But that exposes the Dreadnought to so many more removal spells. And now if my opponent does have Smother, they have to wait until my turn, they Smother, and I just Double Daze. So that's nice. Opponent taps in mana, they go for it. They go for Nether Spirit. I think we just let that go, because that doesn't even slow down my turn. Oh, if you control a swamp, you may sack Each player excites 2 cards from their hand. Well, I should have definitely... Okay. They got me there. I was not expecting... Oh, they're down to 0 cards, so this is... We should just be good here. Obviously, this is going to raise that. Okay, so swing. And I guess I'm going to play this because in case I draw Gush, I just undo all of my opponent's work. So if they draw something like Vendetta, they're dead. But they can draw exactly Innocent Blood or like Diabolic Edict or something like that. But okay, so Pitrack. Pitrack. I think we don't care about Source Splashers. So that can go, I guess, Seal of Cleansing. And maybe Annul? Like, do I even care about Annul? Winter Orb is awkward. I could just be playing Winter Orb just so I make their Curse Scroll awkward, but... I mean, they have, like, Dark Ritual and stuff, right? Yeah, I don't think I want Winter Orb. I think I just want the 2 Cleansings. And I'd rather have Cleansing than Annul, because Annul is so time restrictive, while Cleansing is just like, well... It's in play. Like, you can't do anything about it because you're playing mono black. So at that point, the amount of interaction they have for me is quite limited. So I think that Cleansing, even though it's actually more mana restrictive because it gets got by Wasteland and it's also 2 mana versus 1, then I think it's still going to be the better card because it's not going to be as times. And now that I know that I'm playing against Pitrack, obviously I'm going to keep this hand, and this hand is kind of great. If my opponent duresses my Ponder on turn 1, I'm going to be very sad, but, you know, we can just draw any land and we're going to be good to go. So, Basic Swamp into Duress. Dark Rit. Ooh, into Bridge. Well, good thing we have an answer for that, so don't care too much. So, definitely going to, you know, have the shuffle here, right? Also, we can just Vision Charm. Meddling Mage, double Vision Charm. Vision Charms are really good, to be honest. Vision Charms are really good here. But I kind of want another land. I want to find... I want more lands. I want Gushes. I think I'm going to shuffle this. It's tempting, but I'm going to shuffle it. So, pass the turn back. See what my opponent's cooking with over there. They 2-for-1 themselves just to put that bridge into play. So, it's not super terrible for us. Curse Scroll doesn't really... Dirac also doesn't matter too much. An island would be a great draw. Yes. Oh, yes. So I'm just gonna Dreadnought Stifle here. And then I'm gonna do the same thing next turn. And then my plan is gonna be to just Vision Charm the bridge and just kill in a single swing. Wasteland resolves, that's fine. If that's all they got, I'm not too worried about that. The rack triggers. Gush is what we draw. Man, this deck just isn't fair, huh? Alright, stifle that one. Pass the turn back. So now we have Gush to foil whatever my opponent has, like any form of interaction. They could have another bridge. Okay, so we just Gush in response, foil, discard, island, and a Darker Wastes. And then we just untap, don't take any damage. Then we Vision Charm, face out an artifact, and swing for 24. Very clean game, Jesus. This was a really clean game. Wow. Everything just came up Millhouse. I mean, that's the power of the Dreadnought deck, right? Just like between the cantrips and like the fact that your deck is super good. Everything just coming out Millhouse. GG's. Time for the last round, and this hand looks great. Let's keep it. Wooded Foothills. For Forest into Llanowar Elves. A daze. Huh. What am I dazing, if I'm dazing anything? There's not... I'm assuming I'm playing against Elves, but I kind of have to race. So that being the case, I don't think there are that many things that I would be dazing here. Because I really want to play this Dreadnought on 2. Well, I guess I'm not dazing anything at all. Because I just can't, because this thing is gonna make a pretty significant amount of mana. That's gonna be a lot of mana. Okay, so I need to let that resolve, and then I'm gonna go a Darker Wastes, and I'm just gonna go for Dreadnought here, and I just have to try to race and get this. Yeah, I just target artifact faces out. Yeah, messed up there. So I need to try to prevent my opponent from winning the game. So by doing this here, I can potentially make it so if my opponent has any way of interacting, I can counter it next turn if they have a Naturalize. So that's why even though I drew the Plains, I'm still playing the Darker Waste so I can cast this counter spell next turn. But these daces are just dead draws. There's nothing I can do about this. If we had been on the play, I think we were pretty much guaranteed to win. But that is very much not the case. Does this kill me? I don't think so. Because they're going to be able to pay for Echo for, for Hermit. But if they have the other guy, the Symbiote, then that's going to be a problem because they're going to make it to recast this, and that's going to outrace my Dreadnought. Let's see. Okay, so Titania is not getting in there. So this is going to be 9, 10, 11, 12 mana. 12 damage. So my opponent's going to need to leave back some blockers. Tangled Wire is pretty brutal here, because it's going to trigger after the Dreadnought has come back. Yeah, that's going to be it, I think. Yeah, so that's definitely going to outrace me. That was a very strong draw from my opponent. Yeah, I just die on the attacks, unfortunately. All right. Really strong start. Okay, so we want Swords to Plowshares, we want Cursed Totems, and I think that's it. These Daces on the play are gonna be much better. Still not that great. I don't think I care about a null. It counters Tangled Wire and it counters Survival and nothing else. Obviously Winter Orb doesn't do anything. So what I want to be protecting against is Naturalizes and Nantuko whatever, Nantuko Vigilante. Those are the cards that I care about. So I think Meddling Mages are fine. Swords to Plowshares are fine. Cursed Totems are great. I want to combo as soon as I can. I think I'm going to shave 1 Dace. Maybe 2 Daces. Like, Dace is just... It's such a... I think I'm just going to cut all the Daces straight up. Like, the window in which Dace is good in this matchup is so short. Like, it's such a small window that I think I'm just going to... I'm going to rely on Meddling Mages to help me just by naming Naturalize, and then I just use the counter spells to protect from the Nantuko Vigilante. I can also use Stifle to protect from Vigilante, which is nice. Alright. We don't have the combo, but I think I like this hand well enough. I'm gonna Portent on one, and this is like the best time to have Portent, right? Like when you're trying to set up the combo, but you don't really have anything to do. Alright, opponent moves to 4. I'm still gonna Portent myself here. Foil double Gush? Tempting, but I don't think that's what I need. Very tempting, actually, but I'd much rather have access to... Not that. Actually, not that. Okay, so we had the opponent's got a Symbiote there. Second counter spell's not the worst. We're still looking for Dreadnought or Cursed Totem would be nice. We have many different things that would be quite powerful here. That seems worth countering. That's gonna be a lot of mana otherwise. Another island, not super exciting. Let's see what they got. First attack. So if my opponent just plays something, oh yeah, that one needs to. Otherwise that's gonna actually get my opponent out of their mulligan. So now we can actually just start hard casting these foils. I really need to find like a Dreadnought at some. My hand has not been working out, but I'm kind of getting bailed out by my opponent's hand being even worse than mine. We figure it out. When you have such a bad hand, you can just have your opponent have just as bad a hand as you, and use that to carry you to victory. I don't think I want to gush here. My opponent's not doing anything, so it's pretty likely they have some form of interaction. Down to 1 card in hand. I could just gush over here on end step. I'm just going to like bring back 2 lands here on gush main phase. This means I can still hardcast. There we go. I can still hardcast. I have just 2 foils here, so we're fine. Dreadnought, Vision Charm, facing out. I'm going to not sacrifice 12 power worth of things. And now we have 1 hardcast foil, and 1 pitch foil. Would be good enough. At this point, does this even matter? I don't think so, so I'm just gonna let that resolve. The only thing that matters are answers to Dread. I'm gonna take 1 here. I'll just have nothing left. Just play out the last land. Let's slide a hand, mostly just because we can. I'm just gonna keep Vision Charm. Like, Cursed Totem doesn't do anything. There's nothing my opponent can have, so I'd rather just have a protection spell in case they draw like Naturalize or something. But I can just counter whatever they play, and that's gonna be enough. All right, 1 and 1. Now we're gonna be on the draw, and that's gonna be really scary. So, how do we make up for being on the draw? Is Meddling Mage better than Counterspell in the matchup? I don't think so. Actually, a 2/2 matters a lot. Like, it really stops their attacks. Meddling Mage doesn't mess with Tangled Wire, though. So they have Survival. Yeah, I think I'd rather have Mage than Seal of Cleansing. That's like the big difference, right? Okay, so I think we keep this. We have turn 2 not. No protection, unfortunately. No protection. I guess Vision Charm is protection, so never mind. We actually do have protection. Would love to draw, I guess, Cursed Totem. We don't want to get Tangled Wire. That's like the one thing. I think I'm going to Portent on 1 because it's so important for us to hit a land. So I'm probably going to put him most to 6. Turn 1 Elf. Okay. Another Meddling Mage is not great, so I'm going to Portent myself here. So I really need to find that land. Yep, those are going to need to go. Any order is fine, and yes, shuffle. Pass the turn back, and now we really need to find a land here. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, so. So. Here, my opponent's going to be able to have 3 mana. Tangled Wire would be brutal. Survival would also be pretty rough. Okay. So, knowing that, I can go for Dreadnought. Cursed Totem is huge. Yeah, we have to do that. If they have Naturalize in hand right now, this is gonna be pretty rough. But otherwise, we should be in okay shape here. Because they're gonna be pretty limited on mana. And we're gonna be able to put a bunch of pressure on them. Our best draw would be a land, because that would mean that I can pressure pretty nicely. So here we see the attack. An opponent got Octavia Orangutan, so I'm pretty sure that they're just gonna try to get rid of the totem here. Oh, but they only show me a single basic. Oh, that's right. They didn't show me that they have 2 lands. They only showed me 1. Let's see if they have it. Survival. Discarding Elf. Okay. Getting Squee. Yeah, with only 2 mana, I'm just gonna go for Dreadnought here. And I'm gonna go for Dreadnought because I can protect it with Vision Charm. So we're gonna face out Dreadnought, and we're gonna pass the turn back. And now we can even stifle the Orangutan trigger, so we don't even need to counter the Orangutan, which is nice. Yeah, that's literally the best draw. I think that's the only thing that gets my opponent back into the game. I think that's literally the only thing that gets my opponent back into this. If they don't have exactly Cradle in this very turn, I think I have the game locked up. But now we got a game. So now this is going to be really, really interesting. Let's see how my opponent sequences things this time around. Also, respect for my opponent having all of the correct arts of every single card. Doing much better than I am. Look at these ugly Dreadnoughts and ugly Meddling Mages. I think what's going on right now is my opponent is considering whether the Cursed Totem matters enough for them to want to Orangutan the totem, or whether they can just afford to... Basically, whether they can afford to not answer the Dreadnought right now. I think that is what my opponent is going through right now. They're saying, do I care more about the totem and can I ignore the Dreadnought, or can I overpower the Dreadnought? Or do I need to save this orangutan for Dreadnought specifically? I personally think that they should blow up the totem. I think that they're going to need their creatures to do their thing in order to be able to win this game. Opponent deep in the tank, and they decide to play Queer Rage. I guess that's free, right? Because they can still play Orangutan here. And I assume that's what they're going to do. No, they discard Squee. Very interesting. So they're going to try to go wide. They're going to set up a 2-turn plan, I guess. I mean, this is something that only Cradle enables, right? So my opponent can go for get Priest here, cast Priest, I guess. And that means that, oh, Well-Wisher. Okay, so I guess we're going to be able to stifle that. So take 2. Oh, but they're going to be able to untap it. So that's kind of the thing. Drawing a land would be sick, yeah. So now if we draw the land, now we can say we're going to... I guess we're going to attack first. So go to combat, attack with Dreadnought. And now we're going to name Uktabi Orangutan here. Uktabi Orangutan. And now we pass the turn. So now they're going to be able to discard the Orangutan to get something else, but that's going to cost them mana, right? Everything they do here costs them mana, and they don't have that much mana. Unless they have they naturalize. If they have the naturalize, then yeah, the game's probably gonna go for my opponent. Because they're going to be able to do enough in this specific turn. If they have exactly naturalize in hand as one of their 2 unknown cards. Because I know one of them is a Squee, the other one is the Orangutan itself. Big heavy lifting done by the Cursed Totem here. Huge heavy lifting. In fact, there's an argument, now that I think about it, there's an argument for naming Naturalize with Meddling Mage, because I know that I already have the Stifle for the Orangutan trigger. So, considering that scenario, maybe it's just correct for me to do that. For me to just name Naturalize with Meddling Mage, just to lock that out from my opponent, and simply allow my opponent to cast like what is effectively a Hail Giant, right? Because I guess it's not a Hail Giant. What's a 3-mana 2/2? I forgot what the name is, but whatever. A 3-mana 2/2 that I can just stifle the trigger off. So maybe that would have been the better play. The thing is that by not doing that, and by not locking my Stifle to the Orangutan, I can save the mana for Vision Charm to save my Dreadnought from something else instead. Nevertheless, I think this is really, really close. Alright, opponent gets Multanis Acolyte. Which is a very interesting pickup considering the current situation. Because it allows my opponent to redraw, looking for that Naturalize. And second Acolyte. Okay, so this is a card that they can trade for Meddling Mage. But they still need to, like, they're out of mana now. And they still need to chump the... No, you don't want to attack. Yeah, there's a 2/2. Okay, so we untap. We opt on my opponent's end step here. Another Stifle. This has gotta be nice, right? This just has to be good enough. So, okay. So at this point, yeah, drawing a land here is also great. So now we just swing it with the Dreadnought. My opponent needs to put at least 5 things in front of this, and then we're just gonna Meddling Mage, Naturalize, and lock up the game. But yeah, we can't attack with Meddling Mage because that's like a free block for my opponent, right? It just straight up. So if they throw everything in front of the Dreadnought, they go to 1. And now I'm gonna play Mage on Naturalize, and this should be game. Naturalize. Here we go. Squee comes back, but I think that the game is locked up at this point. Once again, shout out to Meddling Mage for locking opponents out of the game. And that's it. 4-1, beating the best deck in the format. Feels good. Alright folks, wrapping this one up. 4-1, losing to a very, very cool brew, like that sort of Boggle style deck, which looks very, very well prepared to beat Dreadnought, right? Like it felt like I was kind of easily erased. And it's not necessarily an easy feat to raise a freaking 12-12, right? So Very impressive build, really showcases the potential that Premodern has for new strategies to show up, and for those new strategies to be very, very well set up to play against what are some of the tier 1 decks of the format, right? So very, very exciting new brew right there. This approach was kind of neat. I did find myself in a couple of situations in a spot where I feel like if I had access to the tutor, I would be in better shape. Mostly because tutor allows me to have main deck answers to artifacts or stuff like that. So when we played against the mono blue control deck, for example, I feel like tutor would have been nice, which is weird, right? Because against the control decks, you don't really want to be incurring in card disadvantage, but at the same time, those are the kind of matchups where you need, like, very few cards really matter at any given point, so you want to make sure that you have those cards covered, and being able to tutor for maybe Seal of Cleansing or something like that could have been useful at different points. Overall, I like this a lot, though, just having access to a bunch of cantrips. Portent had spots where it was awesome, and it also had, I remember at least one spot where I was like, this sucks. But it also had some spots where it was just like, okay, I can work with this. This seems reasonable. So jury is still out. Jury is still out in whether this card is worth being here, or whether I should be doing something else, like, I don't know, like maybe playing some Naturalize or some other effect like that in the main deck, or even just like cutting Swords to Plowshares altogether from the main deck and just playing 2 more Portents or something like that. So there are multiple things that I want to continue exploring with the archetype, but what I know is that this is nice. that's all that I know so far. The deck just continues to work really, really well for me. My win rate with it, I mean, you can literally every single match that I play with this deck is on the YouTube channel. So if you're interested in seeing how the deck plays out, there's a multitude of videos that you can check out, and you can see the whole process of evolution of how I've been messing around with it and how I've been tinkering and whatnot. But this list felt very, very good. I really like the fact that both Winter Orb and Curse Totem showed up, and they did exactly what I wanted them to do. So that makes me really, really happy, because like the idea for Curse Totem was specifically the Elves matchup, and then it has some other splash damage in other matchups, like for example versus Devour and other decks like that, which sure, like I'm gonna be bringing this card in, but like that's not really the reason why it's in the deck. The reason why these Curse Totems are in the deck are because of the Elves matchup specifically. So because of that, playing against Elves and Curse Totem showing up and straight up winning the game, like single-handedly just winning the entire match by itself. It was very, very cool. And Winter Orb versus the mono blue control, again, like not specifically for mono blue, but for decks like that, like the Rock, like Astral Slide or whatever. So very, very cool to see those cards in particular showing up and being the bangers that I wanted them to be. So very nice to see that. But yeah, we're going to be wrapping this one up. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on the way out if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next video, folks. Take care. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And bye-bye.